The arena lights came on without ceremony, a flat white glare that erased shadows and mercy at the same time. Mara Kade stood at the center ring, boots planted, shoulders loose, breathing steady. The floor beneath her feet was a mosaic of interlocking plates, each one capable of shifting, dropping, or electrifying on command. She noted the seams, the spacing, the faint vibration traveling up through her soles. Nothing moved yet. That was the first mistake they made, assuming stillness meant uncertainty. Above the transparent barrier, Overseer Threx Valuin adjusted his mandibles and glanced at the data scrolling across his console. Human subject confirmed, he said, voice amplified for the chamber. Baseline test. Begin standard escalation. Mara lifted her eyes toward the glass. It was too far to see faces clearly, but she felt them all the same, thousands of eyes, measuring, cataloging, waiting for something theatrical. She gave them nothing. Her hands rested open at her sides. Her pulse sat low and even. The first gate opened with a hydraulic groan. Something heavy moved inside the tunnel, claws scraping metal. The crawl berserker burst out moments later, all muscle and plated bone, saliva steaming as it hit the cooler air. It roared, a sound meant to freeze prey in place. Mara shifted her weight an inch to the left. The berserker charged. The floor plate beneath it dropped half a meter, just long enough to break its stride. Mara stepped in, close enough to smell its breath, and drove her elbow up under the jaw where armor plates met. The crack echoed. She twisted, used its momentum, and sent it sprawling. Before it could recover, she stamped down once, hard, at the base of the skull. The body went still. Silence rolled through the observation deck. Vital signs? Threx asked. Subject stable, a technician replied. Adrenaline spike within expected human norms. No vocalization. No roar, someone muttered. Release the second, Threx said. 2 gates opened this time. Smaller creatures spilled out, fast and clever, their movements erratic by design. Mara backed toward a raised section of flooring, eyes flicking between them. She waited until they committed, then triggered the terrain by stepping onto a pressure seam she had already mapped. The incline rose sharply. One attacker lost footing and slid. The other leapt. Mara caught it midair. The impact jarred her arms, but she rolled with it, slamming the creature into the elevated plate's edge. Bone snapped. She shoved it aside and pivoted, meeting the second as it scrambled up. Her knee drove into its center mass. It folded. A short, precise strike finished it. 3 down. Escalate, Threx said, a thin edge entering his voice. The arena responded with heat. The lights shifted spectrum, bathing the floor in harsh red. 4 more opponents emerged, this time coordinated, fanning out to cut off retreat. Mara exhaled slowly through her nose. She could feel the temperature rising, sweat forming at her temples. She adjusted her grip on nothing at all. They rushed together. Mara moved before they converged. She sprinted toward the narrowest gap, ducked under a sweeping limb, and slid across the floor, coming up behind the formation. One quick shove sent the nearest alien crashing into another. She seized the moment, striking joints, throats, pressure points where biology allowed. The fight compressed into seconds of motion and breath and impact. When it ended, 4 bodies lay scattered across the plates. The betting halls went quiet. Threx leaned closer to the glass. She's not using weapons, he said. Why isn't she using weapons? Subject appears to be conserving energy, an analyst replied. Movement efficiency remains high. Mara stood among the fallen, chest rising and falling a fraction faster now. She flexed her fingers once, checking for damage. A thin line of blood traced down her forearm where a claw had glanced off. She ignored it. The arena clock ticked forward. The next wave came faster, harder. No pauses. No speeches. The system fed bodies into the ring as if speed alone might overwhelm her. Mara adapted without visible strain, redirecting attacks, exploiting mistakes, letting gravity and mass do the work whenever possible. She took a blow to the ribs, felt something bruise, adjusted her stance. She did not slow. At 58 minutes, the 8th opponent fell. Mara stepped back, put distance between herself and the bodies, and looked up again at the observation deck. For the first time, she spoke. "Is that all?" she asked. Her voice carried clearly, calm and level. No one answered. The clock reached 1 hour. The arena did not open another gate. Above the glass, Overseer Threx Virellion realized his hands were clenched tight around the console edge, and that none of his guards were moving toward the exit ramp below. The arena changed its mind. Where heat had failed, sound took over. A low-frequency hum crept through the floor plates, vibrating bone and teeth, tuned to unsettle nervous systems across half the Coalition's species catalog. Lights strobed in uneven patterns, shadows breaking and reforming in ways meant to disorient. The air grew heavy, thick with artificial pheromones engineered to trigger panic. Mara noticed all of it. She adjusted nothing. Above the glass, technicians leaned closer to their screens. Heart rate steady. Breathing controlled. Cortisol elevated, but not spiraling. One analyst frowned and zoomed in on the readouts. "She's regulating," he said quietly. Threx Virellion flicked his mandibles in irritation. "No species regulates under this protocol." Mara rolled her shoulders once, slow and deliberate. She closed her eyes for half a second, letting the noise wash over her, then opened them again. Her stance shifted, not defensive, but balanced. She moved toward the arena's edge, placing her back near a curved wall where attacks could only come from one direction. That was when the med drones descended. They floated in on silent repulsors, white shells gleaming, instruments extended. Officially, they were there to recover remains. Unofficially, they were bait. The moment they crossed the threshold, Mara's gaze snapped to them. She raised a hand, palm out. "Don't," she said. The drones did not stop. Coalition programming did not account for warnings from test subjects. Mara lunged, caught the nearest drone by its casing, and smashed it into the floor. It sparked violently and went dark. The second tried to retreat. She hurled a broken plate fragment, precise and fast. The drone spiraled down in a burst of light. In the control room, a guard shifted his weight. Another took a step back from the exit ramp. "Guards will retrieve the remaining bodies," Threx ordered. No one moved. "I gave an order," he snapped. One of the senior guards swallowed. "With respect, Overseer, the arena is no longer secure." Threx turned slowly. "She is unarmed. She is not contained," the guard replied. The next gate opened before the argument could continue. What emerged was not fast. It did not roar. The predator was tall and narrow, its skin matte black, eyes reflective and still. Apex class? Designed to stalk, not rush. It circled once, measuring the space, then fixed on Mara. The hum deepened. Lights dimmed. Mara backed into the curve of the wall, eyes never leaving the creature. She picked up a loose shard of flooring, testing its weight. The predator advanced, silent, each step deliberate. It struck without warning, a blur of motion aimed at her throat. Mara dropped flat. The claws sliced air where her head had been. She rolled, came up inside its reach, and slammed the shard into the joint behind its knee. The creature staggered, surprised more than hurt. It lashed out, catching her shoulder. Pain flared, sharp and bright. Mara gritted her teeth and stayed close. She drove forward, forcing the fight into the narrow space between wall and floor rise. The predator's size worked against it. It twisted, tried to disengage. Mara didn't let it. She struck again, targeting the same joint, then the neck where muscle met spine. The creature collapsed in on itself, twitching once before going still. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then a technician whispered, "She's injured." "Minor," the analyst replied. "She's compensating." Mara pressed her hand to her shoulder, felt warm blood, and tore a strip from her sleeve. She bound the wound tight, movements efficient, practiced. She did not look up. In the observation deck, a junior officer turned away from the glass. "This isn't a test anymore," he said. "It's exposure." Threx ignored him. "Increased psychological pressure. Isolation protocol." The lights cut out completely. Total darkness swallowed the arena. The hum stopped. Silence fell, sudden and absolute. Mara stood still, listening. Her breathing slowed further. She counted heartbeats, measured time by internal rhythm. Darkness did not scare her. She had worked collapsed buildings, blackout zones, places where light meant danger. She waited. Minutes passed. The arena offered nothing. Above, systems flagged anomalies. The arena AI shifted priorities, rerouting power, adjusting safety margins. It had been built to contain violence, not patience. "She's not deteriorating," the analyst said. "She's stabilizing." "That's impossible," Threx said. The lights snapped back on. Mara blinked once and looked straight at the glass. Her voice carried again unraised. "You're wasting energy," she said. "And time." Threx felt something cold settle in his core. "She's communicating strategically," he said, more to himself than anyone else. "She's teaching," the analyst corrected. The clock crossed into the second hour. No new gates opened. Guards remained at their posts, hands tight on weapons they did not trust themselves to use. In the arena, Mara Kade stood alone among cooling bodies, injured but unbowed, waiting, not for the next opponent, but for the system to decide what it was willing to lose. The system hesitated. For the first time since its construction, the arena did not know how to proceed. The Emergency Council convened without ceremony. Holographic figures flickered into existence above the observation deck: diplomats, military liaisons, compliance auditors, drawn in by anomaly alerts and halted betting markets. Overseer Threx Valuin stood at the center, posture rigid, mandibles tight. The arena floor below lay littered with bodies the med drones still refused to retrieve. "She should have collapsed," Threx said. "Every model confirms it." A tall avian delegate tilted her head. "Your models did not account for sustained composure under injury." "She is bleeding," Threx snapped. "She is alone. This is not survivable." "Yet she survives," another voice replied. Below the glass, Mara Kade shifted her weight and tested her shoulder. The pain remained sharp but manageable. She rolled the joint once, winced, then relaxed again. She was tired now, not spent, but aware of the cost. Fatigue crept in around the edges, subtle and patient. She did not fight it. She folded it into her movements. The arena rumbled. Threx turned sharply. "What is that?" The technician hesitated. "System recalibration. The arena AI is adjusting parameters." "Without authorization?" "Yes, Overseer." The floor plates reconfigured, rising into uneven ridges and narrow corridors. Weapons racks emerged from the walls: blades, shock staffs, projectile launchers, tools meant to tempt desperation. The final trial. Overwhelming force, overwhelming choice. Mara watched the transformation in silence. When the nearest rack slid open beside her, she did not reach for it. She looked up instead. "You don't need those," she said evenly. "You never did." Threx's voice cut in, amplified and sharp. "You will arm yourself, human, or you will die." Mara considered him for a moment. Then she shook her head once. "That's not how this ends." A murmur rippled through the council. "End?" Threx repeated. "You are a test subject." Mara stepped forward, placing herself at the center of the arena's new layout. "No," she said. "I'm a demonstration." The arena released the last wave. They came from all sides, machines and flesh together, coordinated, relentless. Not designed to win, but to exhaust. Mara moved immediately, navigating the corridors, forcing the attackers to funnel, collide, interfere with each other. She struck when necessary, retreated when smart, never chasing, never posturing. Every motion served a purpose. Minutes stretched. Sweat blurred her vision. Her breath grew heavier. Still, she did not break rhythm. Above, the council watched in silence. "She's dictating engagement distance," one strategist said. "She's controlling tempo." "She's injured," another replied. "And still managing risk," the first answered. A machine lunged. Mara pivoted, used its mass to shield herself from a projectile, then shoved it into a charging beast. Both went down. She stumbled once, caught herself, and kept moving. Threx slammed a claw against the console. "Increase output." "Now." The technician shook his head. "The system is refusing." "What?" "The Arena AI has shifted to self-preservation protocols. It's limiting escalation." "That's impossible," Threx said. "It's a tool. It's an adaptive system," the technician replied quietly. "And it has recalculated threat vectors." Mara backed into an open space as the last of the wave fell away. She stood there, chest heaving now, blood darkening her sleeve. She did not chase the retreating shapes. She did not celebrate. She looked up. "You built this place to study fear," she said. "But you don't understand it." Threx leaned forward. "Enlighten us." Mara wiped sweat from her brow with the back of her hand. "Fear isn't screaming. It's planning. It's staying calm long enough to choose what matters." The council listened. "We don't train to dominate," she continued. "We train to endure. Disasters. Collapses. Long nights where help doesn't come. You thought throwing me in here would strip me down." Her gaze hardened. "It didn't. It showed you what's underneath." A pause. "What are you proposing?" the avian delegate asked. Mara straightened as much as her body allowed. "Reclassification. Not as assets. Not as threats to be managed. Equals." Threx laughed, sharp and brittle. "You think one survivor changes galactic policy?" Mara met his eyes through the glass. "I think you already changed it. You just haven't admitted it yet." The arena lights dimmed. A tone sounded clear, final. "Extraction window available," the system announced. Threx froze. "I did not authorize." "Authorization overridden," the technician said. "Council majority vote." A ramp extended from the arena floor. Mara took one step toward it, then stopped. "One condition." The council waited. "No more arenas," she said. "Not for us. Not for anyone you don't understand." Silence stretched, heavy and fragile. "Agreed," the avian delegate said at last. The ramp locked into place. Mara walked, each step deliberate, controlled. Guards flinched as she passed, weapons lowered. She did not look at them. She did not need to. Behind her, the arena powered down, systems resetting around a conclusion they had not been designed to reach. Overseer Threx Virellion watched as the human disappeared beyond the threshold, his legacy unraveling in real time. The galaxy would adjust. It always did. But it would do so now with a new calculation, one shaped not by spectacle or terror, but by a quiet human who had stood still long enough to make the system blink first.